How do you deal with isolation and social relationships during a rough Kundalini awakening? What we can define a spiritual emergency or Kundalini syndrome, spiritual crisis, name it whatever you want. If you are in this phase, I know relationships are a mess, totally, in this moment. We're going to discuss about it a little bit. My name is Alan, and I had a Kundalini awakening back a few years ago. I was agnostic. I didn't know or even care about anything spiritual, and it destroyed my whole life. I was basically reset, and I was brought back point zero. It took a lot of years to get back, and this is the reason I'm here today talking to the camera, because there's a lot of people suffering for a spiritual emergency and there's no guidance out there. The problem during a Kundalini awakening is that nobody understands. There is nobody to talk to. There is nobody there to not even tell you what to do or give you suggestions or advices, which it would be bliss. But there's not even anybody that can just sit and listen without judgment. That would be great for us to have somebody like this to just listen, nothing else. But yet it seems like an impossible task for people. Now let's dive deep into the problem, the how. What is the problem actually? Well, the problem is that people around you, family, friends, probably are seeing something different in you. You want to share. You've been through a lot. You've been through all this new stuff, new revelations, those new, both the good and the bad things that happen during a Kundalini awakening. You want to share them with people, but if you made, spoiler, the mistake of talking to the people around you about it, you most likely you found that they look at you like you're an alien. Maybe you were already the black sheep of the family because you were always a little bit strange, different, weird on their eyes, because I infer that if you had a Kundalini awakening is because you are somewhat a special individual. The vast majority of people I met during let me clean the camera here. Okay, better. I met were a little bit off, and so you find really, you're shocked to see the faces of the people around you. They think you are maybe psychotic, you're having a bipolar problem, you're sick or something, and this is really, during a Kundalini awakening is a rough experience by itself. And what we want to do, we want to have the people close to us even closer, but that doesn't seem the case, because they don't understand. And believe me when I say this, they will never ever understand what you're going through if they don't go through it themselves. For years after my main event, which I call the main event, and during the integration phase, I used to talk about my experience really in a superficial way to the new friends I had. And well, I always made a disclaimer. I'm gonna tell you, but you will never be able to understand me. Why? Because if I could go back in time and talk to the old self, the old me before the Kundalini awakening, I would have laughed in my face. I would have thought this guy is really missing something here. And really, so how could I convince somebody else? How could you convince anybody? There's no way. So, spoiler, don't even try. What's the problem here? One of the problems that can occur during this phase. I even, wrote a post on Quora, and I will link the post in the description. And basically, during a Kundalini Awakening, you feel like you've seen the light. You feel like you've been exposed to a deeper truth, a revelation. And what's normal is you want to share this with people around you. I remember my own I can tell you about my own. Let me cross the street without dying. I got a lot of stuff to do yet. And I remember, again, I was an atheist, agnostic, and for most of my life, I really hoped that God, Spirit, universe, all those buzzwords were real, I really hoped, but I couldn't find, any proof. I couldn't, I was just me. I couldn't just believe that kind of crap. So when I discovered that all the thing was real and there was no doubt about it, first thing you want to do is go out and share it with everybody around, starting from the family, parents, starting with your friends. And guess what? It was so fucking naive to do this, because I thought, the point is, I went from be an unbeliever, not only an unbeliever, believe me, when I was a kid, I thought all forms of religion and spirituality had to be destroyed, because I thought those were the poison of the world, because we needed science, we needed real stuff, not those woo-woo concepts that, distracted people from doing a good job, building a better city, a better social system, because they spent time praying. And I was really that way. So believe me, when I discovered the things that I discovered during a Kundalini Awakening, I felt like born again. That's why many traditions use the born again thing, because you feel like you finally started living. You're finally out of the fog and the darkness. You know something that nobody around you knows. And that's the good and the bad thing. The good thing is you have these experiences, and are not fabricated by your brain. For sure that is not psychosis. We will have another video here. I will link it somewhere on this page, where we discuss the thin difference between psychosis and enlightenment. You might also feel it's like your mission now. God, universe, source, however you want to call it. Why did you awaken me? What's the point? For myself? No, I figured it was because I had to talk about it to other people. And that's what I did. So you might feel like it is your mission. And it could be, or it could be not. Now, talking about more in depth about how relationships change is important to address this thing. After a Kundalini Awakening, maybe, I'm pretty sure you had a low tolerance for bullshit, for BS. even before, you always valued authenticity, speak the truth, not lying, being able to not find yourself not being able to lie. You never liked chit-chatting about crap normal people would, or small conversation normal people would enjoy. You always aimed for something more. And yeah, but I guess even though you were somehow forced, or you felt like, okay, it doesn't matter if my friends are not perfectly authentic, it doesn't matter if maybe my partner is not perfect. It's a 70% fit. It could go. I mean, we have something in common, and that's a problem, because Kundalini Awakening brings, well, Kundalini Awakening is about truth. It's about you to discover reality for the first time, seeing the world the way it is, not the way you think it is. Remove all the fogs and the BS and the darkness that covers your eyes, because reality is too harsh to accept. So during this phase, what happens? You're very, 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 very intolerant to bullshit. You want the truth. You cannot lie anymore. It really makes you sick and puke. And this is a problem, because either you go outside and to the same old people and tell them the things you think of them. Not that you have to be, unkind, but you cannot swallow the frog anymore. You cannot lie anymore, and you have to say the things as they are. And that's a problem. Well, it's a fake problem in the end, but in the beginning, maybe it's a great problem. Is a great problem, because, and let me be really straightforward here. I never sugarcoat anything. So I'm telling you straightforward. I estimate you will lose 80% of your friends during this phase. And what kind of animal that was? You will lose them for many reasons, and one of this is because, again, as we said, Kundalini is there to bring the truth. And the friends you had now, the relationships you established till today, were based on lies. Were based on lies. The old person that created those relationships is no more. Let me cross the street. Simply, the person that created those relationships is no more. So it's as simple as it sounds. I had long hairs for most of my life, and my mantra was, I will never ever cut my hairs. It doesn't matter what happens. Me, myself, I will never cut my hairs for any reasons at all. But then, look at me, I wasn't lying. The problem is, the guy that said, I will never cut my hairs, is no more. That guy is dead. Is dead. There's no more. That guy is gone. I eat that guy. I assimilated the guy. Who you are becoming? You're becoming something else, someone else. You'll find different people. It will be difficult to relate to the old people. One other reasons relationships will change, and this is more practical, more physical, as you, if you allow me to say, It is simply because your physical symptoms during a Kundalini awakening are making you very hard to sustain the old environments you were used to attend to. The crowds, the supermarkets, the concerts, I don't know, even working in an office is pretty much difficult. And I have a video about also how to deal with work. And because you have those symptoms, you have those maybe the kriyas, your hand starts moving strangely to move the energy. You find your body doing yoga poses, and the sensitivity is so strong, is so high that the noises, the energy of the room, the energy of people, the sounds, the smells, they get so overwhelming that's hard to again stay in these places more than 5 minutes. And again, this is a good news and a bad news. The bad news is you will have to change your habits. You will have to stop attending those places, those people. And the good news is that it's finally time to honor who you are. Curious guy. You have to start honor who you are. Let me give you again a personal example. I used to, again, as I said, I was an heavy metal guy. I'll need to get a microphone more professional here. Anti-wind. Okay. Tomorrow I'll have one. Don't worry. Hopefully the wind is not coming back in my camera's microphone. Anyway, the good news is your transformation has just begun. Personal example. I used to, as a music lover, to go to concerts, to go to pubs where loud music was, and there was a lot of people, a lot of man, and I can tell you, there's a lot of bad emotions in those places. And there's a lot of alcohol and a lot of lust, anger, a lot of, that kind of vibration. And the point is that I thought of myself as a drunkie. I used to drink often. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. Even during the week. Why did I drink alcohol? Because it was the only way to cope with the noise. It was the only way to be able to stand there without getting crazy. As an HSP, highly sensitive person or an empath, I don't like labels, but to make you understand, I'm both, and most likely you are too. These places are hell for our nervous system because we are naturally overstimulated by stuff, by noises. Figures going to a concert. I remember myself, even though I was really drunk, I remember going to the concerts of my favorite artists, my favorite musicians, and hate it. And I couldn't understand why. I was waiting the moment for months. I was watching the guy. I was there in front of me, my rock star is there, my childhood favorite artist is there. And I hated every second of it because my nervous system was telling me that's dangerous. I don't know if I would have found this even without Kundalini hit me in my life. But long story short, now today, I quit alcohol. I used to drink every day. Now I know I know the reasons. It wasn't because I was a drunk. It was the most normal thing to do. It was actually very rational and intelligent and the best thing I could do. Because if you go into overstimulation and because you keep going in places and meeting with people that drags you down, you'll need some kind of medicine. What I'm trying to say here is the bad news. You will have to adjust. You will have to adjust to the places you're accustomed to go. You'll have to adjust with the people you spend time with. So it's, again, it will be a painful process. Change is always, even the positive change is always painful. Remember, our mind, our brains are survival machines. They are not there for evolution. The brain is not there for... It's just a screaming machine, screaming help. Danger is everywhere. It's a danger discovery machine. It's constantly watching around, finding clues that you're somehow in danger. It doesn't... Evolution. Topic. Let's summarize some of these points. You're feeling alienation, you're feeling isolation because there's nobody you can relate to anymore. You're in danger of being labeled as a sick, psychotic, and even the people that were close to you, they now feel like superficial. It's like you've been exposed to a bigger reality, and you are interested more in spiritual practices and spiritual life, while the others, just want to keep going, going on with the ordinary life, cinema, watching football, drinking beer, and you want to do something more meaningful. You're looking for something more deep to life, thus more meaningful activities, and you find the others superficial, and it's hard to talk with them, and this starts a natural purge. Naturally, people will leave you behind, or you will start leaving behind some people. One interesting aspect, talking about relationships during a Kundalini syndrome or awakening in general, is how sexuality changes. Maybe you feel the need of celibacy. You don't want any relationship. I certainly felt like that for a long time. The first year I was mostly worried to awaken the Kundalini in other people. I did it. I had intimate relationship with a person, and indeed a few days later she was activated. But given the fact that for me the Kundalini awakening was not a pleasant experience, I did not want to, because I was afraid to trigger them. And this was one aspect. The second is, honestly, when I integrated it, I didn't want to share my energy. You might feel as well a profound need for not having any kind of relationship, and this might increase your own loneliness, the alienation. And this is a pretty common trait. It happens very often. Celibacy is also a need for moving the energy upwards. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how does it work for women, but for men, if you don't waste your energy horizontally, you can use it vertically, because that energy is potentially there being used for other activities. One other point is, and this is a little bit more problematic, this is a signal your Kundalini syndrome, your Kundalini awakening needs a little bit of stabilization, is the so-called Messiah syndrome. It could be either the Messiah or God syndrome. Technically, the God complex is different. You mean you feel you're God and you want others to submit to you. You feel like you're the best. You're God. During the Messiah, you feel like you are Jesus or some kind of master came back to save others. And this is, of course, will have an impact on your relationships. I can speak about this in first person because it's very common in reality, and I had this myself. Fortunately, I was not hospitalized for it. I didn't put a vest on me and tried to save people. And I felt I was the Christ. And to me, I must be Jesus then. I didn't know anything. During my studies, I discovered the difference. Really, I felt like I was some kind of special one, came down to save others, to educate them about spirituality and everything. Fortunately, I was able to not get too much into it, but some people go the extra mile and start to, think they're Jesus. You are Christ, because technically, during this phase, you are God. The problem is that you don't remain God. You come back. Whatever comes up goes down, and you will go down, and you will remember, I was God, but now I'm me. So who I am? Who am I? Little digression here. What to do? A few suggestions on how to deal with relationships in this phase before you become more stable and grounded. Self-love for you. Shut the fuck up. Don't talk to others about your experiences. Don't do it unless you know for 100% certainty that that person is a smart person and will be able to just sit and listen to you without judgment. It might be impossible for you to find someone like this. If you really need to talk to somebody, find a therapist, somebody you can pay. Call those. I guess any country has some special numbers for people in crisis. People trained to listen to you. I guess you can call those. You can go online and find communities for people that are going through or went through, like myself, the same thing. You can book a call with me. I am here for this reason. I want to help people during a Kundalini crisis. More information at the end of the video. This is my style. You have to grow some balls, even if you're a girl. You have to grow some balls, and this is even the reason Kundalini showed up. Kundalini is an invitation to become a divine warrior, to become the biggest, the greatest version of you. And the world does not understand this experience. Most people will never, ever understand anything you have to say about this. So don't try to share. The second suggestion, which is more easy, I guess, is of course slowly but steadily change your habits. Make a list of the environments you used to attend to go to, and think, is this a good thing? Is this helping me? Is this good for my health, both physical, spiritual and mental. If not, cross the whole thing and never go in that place. Find new places. Look where I am. Before Kundalini Awakening, I hated nature. Well, not hated, but I didn't like it. My ideal day would be spent surrounded by lights, concrete, and I hated, the nature because of the smells, the insects, the dirt. The change is drastic. I'm a totally different person. This will happen to you too. So, Rome was not built in a day. Piece by piece, you will find your way around. Don't worry. Reminder, swallow the pill. You will feel alienation for months or even years. Alienation is one of the most recurring problems I hear from people that ask me for help. And bravo. This is the kind of noise I want to get rid of. You might feel alone for a lot of years. The bad news, you will feel it. You will perceive all the pain and solitude. And the good news is part of the process. Kundalini is about finding yourself. Have you ever wondered why sages and wise people went to live over the hill or in the caverns all by themselves? Because they have to find who they are. If you're immersed by the noises, by the other people's energy field, other people's idea, the TV, the computer, the smartphone, we just are a collection of the things we listen and hear and read everywhere. We think we are original. We are just a collection of different things. But this is not who we are. It's just, if I was born in a different country with different parents, I would be a different person, totally. But the core, solitude will bring out the core. You will be put in touch with who you really are. So solitude is one of the what I call mandatory, necessary suffering, pains you have to endure during this phase. You will be transformed. You will get out of this as a winner. To conclude, I help people during Kundalini syndrome. I am not really into sugarcoating or chatting. I don't like chatting, small talk. And so if you are really in a difficult situation, if you are not stable, if you're unable to work, if you're unable to function in the real world, you'll find a link in the description. Click on it and you can get in touch with me. We'll see if yours is a genuine spiritual awakening, a spiritual emergency. And I only help people that are in distress. That's all. Sayonara.